Recap. My 19 male parents had me young and by accident. My childhood was nothing but money troubles and listening to my parents scream at each other. Things only improved when my mom left my dad and started seeing my stepdad. He brought financial stability and is more of a father to me than my bio dad ever was. They have a daughter together, my sister Melody. I'm not blind, I know they shower her with attention and they buy her everything they can because I had nothing when I was her age. When I was younger, it frustrated me to see her loved in a way I never was. But I know now that my mom did her best with her experience and resources. With that context out of the way, Melody recently had a birthday. She's a preschooler, and my parents went all out. Once my mom and the other moms had a few drinks each, they started gossiping. The conversation turned to sharing stories about their kids. Instead of sharing cute stories about Melody, my mom decided to tell a group of random moms about the time I tried to make my parents stop fighting by collecting change around the house and giving it to them. I was 7. She laughed the whole time and ended the story with, the things you learn with the oldest practice kids, am I right? That story is a painful memory, so I was hurt that she thought it was hilarious. Then she shared the story of how she convinced the school to let me do gym class in my winter boots, because that was the one pair of shoes I had. Again, she told the whole story with a grin and laughing. The last thing she said made me almost blow up. Thank goodness Melody can have all the shoes she wants, though with how much crap my name pulled at that age, maybe it was best I didn't waste money on the practice kid. I texted my mom, I'm glad you find how poor and miserable we were so funny, but it really upsets me how you think of me as a practice kid for Mel. I'm going, so someone should watch the kids. I then left without talking to anyone. When I got home, I checked my text and found a rant from her, saying they were her stories and she could feel any way she wanted. She called me sensitive for not taking a joke and suggested I get a therapist. I already have one and she knows that because I was jealous of a little kid. She said I was rude for leaving. Update. Am I the idiot for leaving after my mom kept joking about my childhood and calling me her practice kid? So to start, I'd like to thank everyone who commented on my last post. I read through as many replies as I could, and some of you all had me sobbing. So the first thing I did was talk to my stepdad. Contrary to some of y'all's assumptions, I don't live at my parents' house. So I asked him over to breakfast to talk on the day when my mom had work, but I had off. He knows I usually plan around my mom's work schedule, so he knew it was serious beforehand. We sat down over eggs and I told him what had happened. He'd been doing something else at the time and was absolutely shocked. Apparently, my mom had told him a twisted version of events. According to him, she'd said that I sent her an angry text because of a few harmless jabs and that she was only kidding and didn't mean any harm. She also had conspicuously left out her intoxicated text to me. His reaction to the actual content of her jokes can only be described as deep sadness and frustration. He offered me true support and affirmation, something that I could never picture my mom doing in a million years. My mom can be nice, but she's not great at anything deeper than platitudes. He was also completely blindsided by the fact that there was alcohol at a kid's party. He had left the planning to her and had no idea. I told him that I wanted to go very low contact with my mom for a bit and asked for his help to see him and Melody without having to deal with her. He said he understood and agreed to have me over when she wasn't around. He told me he would get my mom help with her emotions and her alcohol problem, and I told him that she probably wouldn't cooperate and promised to help him get her the help she needs in whatever ways I can. A half hour after my stepdad left, I texted my mom the following. Hey Ma, I've mulled over what happened at Mel's party, and I've realized that our relationship is not healthy. You put me down for things that weren't my fault and laughed at how you and my bio dad screwed up my childhood. It hurts to hear you speak about me like that, and I don't think you understand exactly how much. I've also come to realize that you're serving alcohol at a preschooler's birthday party without even telling Dad isn't normal. This isn't a one-time thing. You start drinking at 8 a.m. and don't stop until bed. You have two problems, and until you get some serious help with both of them, I would like very little contact with you. Please don't contact me outside of an emergency." I then blocked her from texting me. I know this isn't as dramatic of an update as y'all were hoping for, but I hope that someone can take something from it. I know it's only been a few days, but I have no regrets. Maybe going cold turkey off her was what I needed. I am amazed at how thoughtful and emotionally mature you are. You did everything right in what was such a hurtful encounter. Many hurtful encounters, I'm sure. I'm so happy to hear that you're taking steps to take care of yourself, and also happy you have a good dad in your corner. You deserve to be cherished. I hope that things get better for you because of this. Young man, very well handled. Your mom will still blame you, but you acted like the adult in this situation, despite the hurt she caused you. Sadly, when you have a toxic family, the only thing you can do is block them and go no contact. They don't understand that their behavior is hurtful and usually aren't willing to go to counseling. I'm glad that your stepdad is a decent man who cares about you and treats you with the respect you deserve. How did your mom ever end up with your stepdad? They sound very different from each other. I honestly have no idea. She was in one of her better times when they got together, and he won't leave her because of his religion and because of my sister. Also, it's been nice not having to put up with her intoxicated texting, so things are looking up. Thanks for the kind words. My daughter-in-law is pregnant with my first grandchild. She's suffering from placenta previa. She's on bed rest. It would be dangerous for her to have intimacy, so my idiot son decided that he should cheat. She found out and kicked him out of the house. He came to stay with us because, quote, she had crazy pregnancy hormones. Every time he called her, they would fight. After a few days, we told him to see if she had calmed down. Her mom is staying with them, so we weren't worried about her. My wife called in to check on her and found out the truth. I'm very upset. When he got home from work, I told him he needed to leave my house. He wasn't someone I wanted to associate with at the moment, and it would be best if he weren't near me. My wife tried to say that I was being too hard on him, that I should just give them a chance to work things out. I can't even look at him. I don't want such a stupid boy in my house. My wife and I are still fighting about it, but I'm willing to die on this hill. Am I the idiot for telling my son he couldn't stay with me when I found out why his wife kicked him out? You're never the idiot for such integrity. Your son most definitely is, and I suspect his enabling mommy is as well. Kudos to you for doing the right thing. And maybe ask your wife, are you really serious? Would you be saying the same thing if I cheated on you? OP, you have to respect your daughter-in-law and strong morals of knowing right from wrong. It looks like your son never inherited them. I can't believe OP's wife is saying he's being too hard on his son. Like his son isn't being too hard on his wife, who's currently pregnant, mind you, by cheating? The selective outrage is astounding. Good, let him rot. Too many parents enable the awful behavior of their adult children, mainly their adult sons, and all it does is cause that overgrown child to continue to act up. And we've seen way too many. Boy moms, i.e. women that coddle their male children and encourage them to treat their wives terribly. Good on you for not letting that happen in your family. You are the idiot. I had placenta previa during my pregnancy, and I was rushed into the hospital. I was up for longer than advised and fought with my mother because my then husband couldn't solve an issue with her on his own and put it on me. That night I got cramps and bleeding, and my son had to be delivered with an emergency C-section. Why do I say this? Because your daughter-in-law is in a high-risk pregnancy right now, one that puts not only the baby, but her in a possible life-threatening situation. Please do not send your son over to sort things out right now or make him move back in now. They cannot sort anything out without putting two lives in danger. She'll be upset when she sees him, and that alone puts her at great risk. I know you're upset too and don't want to see your son right now, but for the sake of the daughter-in-law and the baby, you have to control him so he doesn't call her again and doesn't visit. You and your son have to understand that his wife is in immediate danger, and every stress and fighting can literally kill her. If he's got one unselfish bone inside of him, he leaves her alone. I, 23 female, am marrying my fiance, 24 male, in a month. He is an identical twin brother with whom he's keeping at a distance because of his past possessive behavior of wanting to share everything, interests, hobbies, and even friends. His brother eloped with his wife, 27 female, and even suggested to my fiance to do the same on the same day as him. But of course he shut that down quickly, as we both already agreed to have a wedding. However, I ended up being contacted by my fiance's brother, requesting I wear his wife's wedding dress from their elopement to my wedding, which I obviously turned down, telling him that I've already got a specific wedding dress on my mind. He dropped the subject, and for 2 weeks I didn't hear about it again, so I thought that was the end of it. Still yesterday, my fiance's brother and his wife showed up at our house, uninvited, may I add, got out sister-in-law's wedding dress, and then literally asked me to try it on, right here, and said that they'd make adjustments if the size doesn't fit. Thank God my husband stepped in and kicked them both out of our house, even though it did end up with a huge argument between my fiancé and his brother. I got contacted later on again by my brother-in-law, who said that my inability to make any compromises for his and his brother's wedding experiences to be intertwined is straining their relationship. Honestly, at this point, I'm just getting the creeps from brother-in-law, and my gut's telling me that he and sister-in-law may attempt to sabotage our wedding out of revenge, and even my husband agrees with the sentiment. We're now strongly considering uninviting both my brother-in-law and sister-in-law from our wedding, but my husband's still a bit reluctant to do it yet because of the inevitable drama it'll cause with his family. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Compromises? What compromises? Your wedding is between you and your future husband. Your brother-in-law is delusional for thinking he has a say in your wedding. This is bizarre behavior, and if you don't nip it in the bud, you'll wake up at 2 a.m. to your brother-in-law standing over your bed, trying to cut and style your hair exactly like his wife's. These people are unhinged. Keep your distance. It's even more bizarre that the sister-in-law is going along with this craziness. It proves that the brother-in-law has met his perfect match. If I were in OP's shoes, I'd honestly consider moving to a different state or country if feasible. Also, what the heck do the parents think of this behavior? Your fiancé and brother-in-law are not 5 anymore, having to wear matching outfits and share toys. This is you and your fiancé's wedding, not your brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They had their day. You have yours the way you both want, without your brother-in-law inserting himself. By the way, what is your mother-in-law's stance on all of this? According to my fiancé, their mom always found it adorable how his brother wanted to share and do everything together with him when they were children, and I don't think that stance from her has changed, especially because my fiancé is sure she'll completely object to him uninviting his brother from his wedding if it gets there. Wow, that's horrible. Make sure you have very good security on the day and do not let them in. No one that obsessed is going to change, no matter what they claim. They will pretend and then strike. Do not advertise that they will not be invited until the last minute. Ensure you have passwords, nothing brother-in-law could guess, for your vendors, and explain the potential problem of him and his wife sabotaging your wedding. This is important, especially since he's a twin. Your brother-in-law's behavior is not healthy, and he could try to impersonate his brother and make changes to your wedding plans. I'm sorry this is adding more stress to you and your fiancé's wedding planning. I wish you both the best. My sister, 28, has 2 biological kids, tween male, tween female, who I, 31 female, have taken care of their whole lives. She got pregnant when she was nearly an adult and decided to keep them. She underestimated how hard kids were and gave up. Since the second she brought them home, my parents and I did all the work apart from feeding, which she often refused to do as she was tired. A little after the twins were born, we found out that my mom had early onset Alzheimer's, so I had to take on more responsibility with them. A year later, I graduated from university and basically became the sole caregiver of the twins and my mom, as I have my own business and can work from home. A little later, I adopted the twins. My sister didn't fight and signed over the rights without saying anything against it. That, along with my father's job, generated enough income to live comfortably. A couple of years later, I married my boyfriend, whom I had been with for a few years. He knew about my kids' parentage, but took them in as her own. Later, we started discussing having kids, and after discussing it at length together, and with the twins, we decided to start trying. My daughter was born when the twins were pre-tweens, and they've been wonderful older siblings, and she adores them. Even after I got married, we still lived with my parents and sister, as my mother needed someone to take care of her, and my sister refused to help out. Now we decided to put Mom into a care home, as it's become too much on me and my family. Me and my husband decided to finally move out to around 1 hour away due to how expensive houses are near where we used to live. This has caused some issues with my sister as she started trying to take my kids, her bio kids. She first asked to move in with us, but she has severe anger issues, which she refuses to get help for. And as much as I love her, my kids come first. I will let her visit. I'm not having her living with us as she's too unpredictable. And while she hasn't hurt my kids, she has lashed out at them. I'm not saying that she can't see them, but I just don't want her living with us, especially as she doesn't work and really just doesn't want to have to take care of herself. For anyone asking, she lived at the old house, but she was rarely home and lived in a converted garage in the garden, so we didn't see her often. She's now saying that I have my daughter, so I should give her kids back. I told her that they're my kids, not hers. They know she's their bio mom, but only see her as their aunt, like my bio daughter. She started trying to take legal action, but since she signed over rights with no residence and no intention to get rights back, there's not much she can do. So she started getting our outer family involved. The majority of my aunts and uncles are on her side, saying that I was basically only a babysitter, and they aren't my actual kids. I don't know what to do. Am I the idiot for not giving them to her or letting her move in? Not the idiot. Those kids are emotionally and legally your kids. Your sister can stuff it. You can't decide to act like a parent when it's convenient. Well done for stepping up and being a great parent. Sister doesn't want to be a parent. She thinks that by threatening to take the kids, OP will cave and let her move in with them. Sister doesn't want to put any effort into living on her own. She doesn't want to find a job and have to take care of herself. She wants to freeload rather than pay rent. OP, it's highly likely that the twins already don't trust her due to the lashing out. And if you give them to her, they will no longer trust you either. You raised your kids for so many years. You are their mother. She has no legal or moral right to your kids. She doesn't even want them. Don't let her move in. Agree. There's nothing she can do. You legally are the parent. The extended family obviously doesn't know the truth of the situation. I'm guessing they haven't been around you to see the true situation and are going off what she's painted out for them. Don't let them get you down. You're doing everything right. Good luck with the move, both with your mother and your family. You sound like a very caring, awesome person. Cut off your sister. Total no contact. And any family member who takes your side. Chop them off like a diseased appendage and never look back.